I'm in Grandview Park, also known as Emerald Park, on one of the picturesque mountaintops of Pittsburgh. These are my stomping grounds, in a way. This is where I walk my dog. A curious thing happened in this park sometime last year. An intriguing public art installation appeared. A series of colorful metal tables with cast iron hands on them, along with a flowing bench and hand-painted tiles. Each of the metal tables was a kind of gestural cacophony of emotions, all kinds of hand gestures captured and frozen in plaster and then molded in metal. But then something else happened. Hands started disappearing, leaving behind little ugly dried up glue stains where they had been attached. Before too long, all tables were cleared clean. Neighborhood kids, probably teenagers, knocked off the hands one by one and took them, I guess, as mementos, as perhaps trophies of their rebellion. There were lots of hands, maybe a dozen or so to each table, so this went on for weeks. By a certain point, the trophy hunger must have been finally satisfied, and now the metal hands just laid around in the grass. I picked one up and brought it home and put it on a shelf. And I started thinking about what this means. The sign next to the installation says that this was a monument to Pittsburgh youth by a local artist, Ali Ruffner. So what does this say about Pittsburgh youth, about youth in general? A low-hanging interpretive fruit here is a story of vandalism, a banal case of desecration or defacing, mere hooliganism. If so, then the story of this art piece is a kind of artistic dead end. And so I pondered this further, and it occurred to me that there is another way of looking at this, another interpretive vector. What if the art piece identified an unconscious need? A need to own a piece of something awesome, like picking up a pebble on a beach or a rock from a trip to Grand Canyon. And so it occurred to me further that perhaps this art installation doesn't have to be fixed in time. It can be reborn and kept alive. Perhaps the hands can be replenished and mounted back on in such a way that they can be easily taken off and maybe screwed on with a sign, "Go ahead, take a hand," as a kind of interactive, symbolic, implicit, art-driven permission to not suffer alone, to not journey through this life unwitnessed. Go ahead, take a hand. There will be more help down the line, could be the message. And the project could go on with a periodic replenishment of hands. There's a certain magic in absorbing violence and sublimating it at a higher level. Subcultures have been known to take derogatory labels and own them, turning the profane into the sacred. Perhaps a similar metamorphosis is possible here as well. Perhaps each year, the artist could invite a new cohort of neighborhood contributors to participate in recreation of this monument to Pittsburgh youth, passing on another harvest of helping hands from one generation to another. An artist starts a story, controls the story, releases the story into the wild, and then reality co-writes it, co-edits it. But this co-creative dance doesn't have to end in a broken, shattered place. There is always another blank page to fill.